whilst Amitai Etzioni and Robin Fincham both looked at the power that organisations have, John French and Bertram Raven took the view that organisational power fundamentally came down to the individuals within it. All power is social power, the power that exists between people. And in their work, they identified a number of social power bases, types of power that individuals can exert over one another. And that's what we're going to look at in this video. French and Raven asserted that all power comes from the dynamic between individuals. Power is social. You can only understand it in the context of the relationships among the people within an organisation. And initially they identified 5 forms of power or social power bases. They later added 2 more, and others have been developed. I think that a model of 8 social power bases puts us into the sweet spot for understanding what all of this is about, and also for identifying power bases within your own organisation and within the organisations and groupings with whom you have to deal as a manager. I am going to divide my power bases into 2 groups. The first are positional power bases, which derive from the position that an individual holds within their organisation. This, if you like, is the power granted to an individual by its organisation. The second group are those that an individual earns for themselves. They are their personal power base, regardless of whether the organisation chooses to grant them power or not. Let's start with the 4 positional power bases. The first of them is legitimate power or hierarchical power. This is quite literally the power that derives from the position within the organisational hierarchy that the individual holds. The higher up the ladder you are, the more power you have. And of course, if you are at the very top of the hierarchy, then arguably you have total power over the organisation. Except we know that that is rarely true, because there is always someone who can remove you from that position of power. And of course, that someone has the ultimate in coercive power. They can threaten to remove you. So the second power base is called coercive power. The ability to coerce people to do something with threats of retribution, with the possibility of forcing people to do something by physical force if necessary. And the counterpoint to coercive social power is reward power, the ability to offer rewards for somebody who does something that complies with your wishes. If you think about it, the ability to reward and the ability to punish is simply the carrot and the stick. And perhaps the easiest way to understand social power in organisations is to ask how you would understand the same characteristics within the schoolyard if you were watching a bunch of children. Obviously, the teachers and the school staff have hierarchical power, the school bully has coercive power, and the rich kid that promises to buy sweets for people who will be their friend has reward power. The fourth kind of positional power base is resource power, the ability to control access to resources that don't belong to you, they belong to the organisation, but which other people need. This is the kind of power that senior secretaries have, who can control access to senior executives within the organisation. They are gatekeepers to time and attention. Or what about the person who manages the stores, or has access to booking travel, or getting printing done, or can provide you with the stationery you need? These people often do not have high status jobs, but because they control access to things, resources, services that people within the organisation need, they have a huge amount of resource power. Just as we've seen 4 kinds of positional power, there are also 4 kinds of personal power. And the first of these personal power bases is information power. They do say that information is power. If you have information that other people need, then that's power. You can view information power as a kind of resource power because information is a resource that other people need. But the difference between this and the other forms of resource power is that the organization doesn't necessarily grant you access to the information, and therefore this can be very much a form of personal power. However, the reality of modern life is that information is often very easy to get, and therefore information power is not a very substantial form of personal power. I can get access to the information you have, but the question is, can I use that information as effectively as you? Do I have years of experience? Do I have expert power? Expert power is much deeper and more subtle and more powerful than information power because you can access information easily, but expert power gives you the ability to use that information and to deploy it and to get things done. And you study for a long time to gain expert power, and as long as you keep up your studies, it is hard to rob you of your expertise, even if I cut you off from access to information. Therefore, if I want to use that information, your expertise still has value to me. The third kind of personal power that we find within organizations is connection power. This is the power that you have through the people you know and the relationships you hold with them. If people respect you, if they like you, then they will do things for you. That gives you power. If you have influence over other people because of the relationship you hold and the investment you've made in building that relationship, then that ability to influence gives you power. Let's go back to the schoolyard. The kid who is the school bully may have power over you, but if you can bring all of your friends together to support you and back you up, connection power, then that school bully has very little power over you at all. The ultimate form of personal power, however, is what French and Raven called referent power. Referent means the power that we have as a result of the person to whom the power refers. That is, it is our own power. The best word for this is actually personal power. It is the power we have as a result of our personality, our character, everything about us that people come to trust and believe in. It is your gravitas. It is, in essence, your credibility, your reliability, your trustworthiness. It is a combination also of the other forms of personal power. Your ability to make and hold connections, the expertise and knowledge that you have. But it does come down to character and trust. If people believe in you, if they trust you, if they find you credible, if they believe you are reliable, if they think you will work for them as much as for yourself, then they will trust you, and that gives you a lot of personal power. So French and Raven said that all power is social power. It arises from the interactions of people. And if we take a quick look at the 3 levels that Fincham gave us for how organizational power derives, we can see that firstly, his processual power is social power. Secondly, the organizational power itself arises from the structures that people create within it. And of course, institutional power derives from society. And what is society if it is not the coming together and working together of people? Society is a social construct. All power, said French and Raven, is social power. Please do give us a thumbs up if you like this video. There's loads more great management courses content to come, so please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our content. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.